I'll call this meeting to order. This is the PAC meeting for March 7th, 2022. Thank you for joining us today. We'll start with roll call. Let's start with Marty Hawk. Are you here?
Present.
Jeff McKim.
Here.
Peter Iverson is here. All right, let's go on to the first item of our agenda, and that is from our Board of Commissioners. Angie Purdy will be presenting a request for new position and classification review.
Oh, Angie Purdy's not here, so you're just reading whatever's there.
Yeah. We're gonna zip across the hall real quick.
All right. Well, if it's okay with PAC, should we move on to item number 3 on the
Please,
agenda?
let's move on.
Michelle, do you have a paper copy of this agenda for
Yes.
Marty
I can get her one.
or other members?
Mhm.
And just so the public knows, you can find an agenda on the Monroe County website. That's where I'm reading my agenda from. Transparency. Good. All right, PAC, if it's okay with you, we'll move on to item number 3. This is from the Youth Service Bureau. We've got Vicki Thibino and Louis Malone here with us today to request 3 new and 2 additional positions. And you're requesting consent to add 5 positions. So can you tell us what this is all about? The floor is yours.
Yes, we presented at the council work session of the expanded juvenile services proposal, which included, among many things, adding 5 positions, full-time positions to the Youth Services Bureau staff. 2 of those would be counselors. The job descriptions would be similar to the 2 counselors we currently have. 1 would be a case manager, which is similar with a slight bit of difference, not including being in charge of the educational programming for the actual shelter, but all the other case management duties would be similar. And then the new positions would be a data specialist to manage all of our software management information systems, to compile data from these expanded services so we can evaluate them, and also to potentially help us begin using the software that probation, community corrections, part of the prosecutor's office and other agencies use so we can share data. And then the youth prevention specialist, which would expand our prevention services and focus on the youth piece of it, which would allow our current prevention coordinator to expand the community and adult part of it. We are happy to answer any questions you have. Liz, is there anything else you want to add to that?
No.
We went into a lot of detail at the council meeting, but I'm happy to repeat any of that or answer any other questions anyone has.
Council, any questions? Marty?
I just wanted to state that a presentation was made to the council and to the public, and it was written up in the paper, had great press coverage. It appeared to have mutual respect for what was being presented, and I heard no one to say they were opposed. And so I would move, especially since this is not a part of that frozen levy, it's setting outside of that frozen levy, that I would be ready to move forward with a recommendation to send to WISP, but I want to hear first from Councilmember McKim.
Thank you. And I certainly agree with everything that Councilor Hawk just said. But I guess on the data specialist, just how much of that work is currently being done by other positions? Oh, and versus how much of it is truly new?
Let me say this part, and I'll let him talk because he does most of it. When I got there, we were literally pulling files annually to do a hand count. That is what the former director had. That's how they kept statistics. Once a year, we pulled every file. We've grown to the point where that's not manageable. And in the 5 years I've been there, we have worked on being able to generate reports from software. However, we're using not user-friendly software and not software that will generate the kinds of reports to the extent we would like to have available in order to assess these programs. I think it's time for the county to have this data included with all the other departments so that we can give you specifics.
So right now, most of the data is collected and in my office. And so I have a few other duties as well. And most of that data is specific to our Binkley House Emergency Shelter Program. There are multiple funding sources that require specific data. And so all of that kind of gets collected and done that way. If we are talking about systematically grabbing data from around the agency and all the different programs that we're doing, that would be new. That would be new, as well as, especially with the new programs we're looking to do, all evidence-based. And while we're piloting them, we obviously need to have data being brought back in so we can check efficacy. The other part of that would be the management of our databases. We have multiple systems that we have to use. That is also all done by me. So there would be both. We would be moving to Quest, which is a large undertaking initially, and then regular maintenance of all of those files. So that would be another piece, that basically the database and repository management, and then the specific data and grabbing those facts. Those are the two things that would be happening with the data specialist. Right now, it pretty much resides with me, and it would be moving to them.
So, okay, so this isn't going to lead to anyone not having enough work to do, it sounds like. All right.
No, not quite.
Thank you.
No problem.
I do have a follow-up question on that. One of the things that I suggested was that we make certain that these dollars are being used for Monroe County residents, and because they are the ones paying that income tax, and we see references that some of the rest of the income tax may be increased, not something I support, but that doesn't mean it won't happen. So I want to make sure this data is going to give us clear information for the public to see. I'm not saying people's names, of course, but to make certain that it is the people that's paying for this service are the ones who are receiving the service.
We should be able to provide that information.
Right. There might be some things that you would be doing in this that might be reimbursable somehow from the state or something as well. And as a reminder, the trying to live within the budget, but that's part of the council's decision. It's not PAC.
And so I did have maybe a comment, maybe just to put down a marker. This is really more of a council than PAC issue, but I just want to make sure, based on what we've seen in the last two council agendas, there was an error that led to certain expenses for benefits not being included in the budget. And I just want to make sure that even with that additional amount added, which obviously we have to pay, that the special purpose lit will still be able to accommodate what what you're looking for. Like I said, I know that's not really a PAC concern, but we just want to make all right. To answer it since
we did. We double checked.
You've already looked at
Yes.
that. Oh, thank you very much.
Okay.
All right. So I have no more questions.
All right. My question is, as I said in the council meeting, I'm very excited about the counselor positions, but also I'm somewhat concerned about the local labor markets. And are you at all concerned about finding people to fill these positions?
Well, it's a national problem. I mean, we're hopeful. It is Bloomington. We do have college graduates. We do have, I can't say it. We've had some bad luck and when we have not had many applicants for some of our positions. These are professional positions, so I'm hopeful.
Excellent.
County has good benefits.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wonderful benefits.
All right. Well, there is a motion on the floor.
Well, I was waiting to see if there was other concerns, but
I would be more than happy to entertain a second.
Move forward with that motion to send to WIS to get the job descriptions, and then they'll come back and the council will still have an opportunity to look at budgets and so forth and ask further questions.
Second.
All right. Hearing a motion and a second. Ms. Miller, can we have a roll call vote, please?
Absolutely. Councillor Iverson,
Yes.
Councillor McKim,
Yes.
Councillor Hawk.
Yes.
Motion passed unanimously.
All right. Congratulations.
Thank you. I have one little favor to see if it's possible. in order to make this happen so that I was asked in the county council meeting, when could these programs start? And I'm hopeful for fall. If WIS could be asked to get them back before your April meeting,
I can make that request, but I can't guarantee,
well, yeah,
you know,
but
because
just ask.
we're not the only county that they work with.
Sure. I'm just saying ask. Say pretty please.
Okay.
And
I'm not so certain that PAC will have to have another meeting before it goes.
That's what I was going to ask. When these come back, do you want it to come back to PAC for a review?
I think it goes right to the council.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes,
Great.
I
Okay.
mean, why take up
Yeah.
everybody's time for another meeting and slow the whole process down?
Okay.
I might not say that on every application, but on this one, this is the council had already heard the presentation.
Okay.
I agree.
All right.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We have Angie Purdy attending virtually.
All right. Ms. Purdy, are you over in Terre Haute?
I am.
Wonderful. Thank you for joining us over there in Vigo County. We're going to go ahead and go back up on our agenda to item number 2. Ms. Purdy is here representing the Board of Commissioners, and she's requesting a new position and classification review for the Public Information Coordinator. Ms. Purdy, can you tell us what this is all about?
Oh, well, I first of all, I apologize because I can't remember off the top of my head, but this position had previously been brought to PAC, had actually been recommended to go to council, went to council, but was taken off the council agenda, probably due to council having numerous items in addition to that on their year-end agenda. So since we've had the job description created, because WIS has already approved it and created that position, we had the new update from WIS, and as such, I can't just take this to council for approval, and I was recommended to come back to you guys to request that it be sent to WIS to be put into our new categories.
Thank you. PAC, any questions or comments?
Angie, I just had can you hear me about it? Can you hear us, by the way?
Yeah.
Okay. I just wondered, was it ever considered to maybe try filling this function with a contract at first, rather than, I mean, this is a pretty big stretch to what the counties already had as a position. And I know the commissioners already have had somebody do some social media. I was just wondering if it would be possible, or if you'd even thought of, just expanding that contract a little bit, maybe as a trial to cover some of the communications duties in this description.
I honestly don't recall the conversations about this, but it is true. We do have someone in place at this point in time that does some of this work. I think that would be council's decision as to if you wanted to maybe slow roll this position, see what can be done when we contract it out. But I can tell you that, the commissioners are very interested in having this position created.
Councilor Hawk, any questions or comments?
I am not in favor of spending more money on this particular position. I think there were concerns about it in the past. And since this would be a part of our regular frozen levy, we see real reasons why the council needs to put pretty much a slow down, almost a break in hiring new positions in that fund, in those funds. So we're going to have to do a lot of financial changes. I know that's not what this meeting is about, but sending this on to WIS is additional money.
Well, at this point, it's already been reviewed and factored by WIS, right? So
They wanted to go back.
Well, it's been reviewed and factored at the old, like a PAT 4,
Oh, in
That
the
kind of
old
thing.
system.
but the old system. So it would need to be looked at and redone, which would probably not take very long, as to our new system, which now has A, B, C, or D kind of levels. So, and I can't just plug, A equals,
Right.
this one,
Understood.
because they've revamped the whole classification level system.
Well, I personally like the idea of slow rolling this. I think there's more questions that the council might have. And I would be in favor of sending this to council one more time, just to have a more robust conversation about this position. So,
Okay.
Ms. Purdy? Go ahead.
I'm sorry. So I'm not sure what conversation to have. I'm happy to bring it to council. I think I need some direction from council.
That's the way I'm feeling too, is I think that there's people that want to talk a little bit more about this, and they're looking to find some direction too. So I think having a more robust conversation at the work session maybe might be a good idea.
Okay.
So I would move that we bring this back to council for our work session this month.
Second.
Any conversation or discussion?
I haven't seen what else is going to be on the agenda, and we have a lot ahead of us. And I think before we would start discussing a new position, we've got to start looking at what's it going to cost for all the fuel and energy costs and labor costs that we didn't budget for. I'd rather see that kind of presentation by the auditor and the auditor staff before we have any discussion of adding a new position. And the council president had on her agenda something about looking at elected officials again. So we have to look at which ones we want to hear. But if the rest of you, if the other two think that we should take the time to do that, hopefully it will be at the end of the meeting, where if it goes on for 2.5, 3 hours, some of us can leave.
I mean, I think the PAC request is really straightforward. I mean, literally, it's already been factored. It's just sending it to, and if it costs zero, then I would agree, just go ahead and do it. But I think at this point, there's no point in moving forward unless there's a majority of the council that is actually interested in creating this position. And I think there's still some major questions about the position, and, a lot of other elected officials weighed in last time who were not in favor of this.
Absolutely.
On the other hand, I do read the description, and I do see that some of the functions in this position do need to be done, and they do need to be done better. That's why I kind of suggested also maybe looking at the contract position, which is a little bit less risky. But all that's a council decision. So
Right. Have you looked at other job descriptions as to who is in charge of that information coming from the commissioner's office? Because I thought it was the administrator, but perhaps it's not. But, even the commissioners could do press conferences. They have opportunity to do radio spots all the time. And if they don't choose to do that, there's very little we can do. And county is so different from the city. Each of the elected officials want to go and make their own presentation of what's going on in their office. They don't want somebody else that they're going to have to train what's going on in their office to go to the public and tell them what's going on. It's redundant, and it was not meant to come together that way.
So we have a motion and a second on the floor. We've heard from PAC. Is there any public comment? Seeing none. Ms. Miller, could we have a roll call vote, please?
Yes. Counselor McKim,
yes.
Counselor Iverson,
Yes.
Counselor Hawk.
No.
Motion passed majority 2-1.
Ms. Purdy, we'll see you at the work session.
Great, thank you.
Mhm.
Thank you.
I didn't support that because I you made it clear you want it to be the next work session. And
I understand.
we don't know what else is on there. It's not up to us to set the work session agenda. That's up to the council president.
That's a good point.
I didn't want to just like be argumentative, but that's the way it works.
Well,
There's rules.
I appreciate that clarification. I do. We have next on our agenda, item number 4, approval of summary minutes. But I was wondering, Michelle, should we have a conversation about calendars before that, or where did you want to fit that into today's agenda?
That is at your discretion.
Let's go ahead and talk about calendars right now.
Okay. It was brought to our attention that it would be nice to just go ahead and have PAC meetings on a Tuesday. And so I created this calendar. The yellow would be the new PAC meeting dates. May would be out due to it, May the 3rd is a holiday. And October would be out because we have a public hearing, a tentative public hearing for our budget scheduled on the 4th. And then December would be out because we have a regular session scheduled for that first Tuesday of the month. But everything else is highlighted in yellow, and it's, does this schedule work with you to move the PAC meetings back to a Tuesday at noon?
And what was the rationale for moving it on to Tuesdays instead of Mondays?
Because my understanding is Mondays is normally, we have holidays on those days. Departments have their department meetings at noon, and this is coming from the auditor, so that she has heard from different departments. And so this would just work better to keep all council meetings on Tuesdays. And that would include PAC, so.
And I told the auditor that when she brought this up, that I really don't care about the day. My only thing is that it needs to be during lunch hour.
Mhm.
So for my day job, so that
And
Monday or Tuesday is fine with me.
I was remembering, and perhaps wrong, that Mondays or Fridays was the best day that you might be in town. And so I want it to be around when the PAC member can be here.
Mhm.
And, everybody else needs to work with us. But if it matters not to you,
If it's at noon, Tuesday is fine with me.
hey, whether you're in town or out of
I'm
town.
not out of town that often
Oh,
anymore.
something happened. You were traveling a lot.
Yeah, I had a bunch for a while, but other than
Because
next week's spring.
Right, because it may very well be that not every PAC member will be here every time.
That's right.
We could do 2 in person, 1 off, 2, and do it through Zoom.
That's right.
Depending on what happens with the gas situation, we all need to be respectful of that.
That's right. So do Tuesdays work for you, or?
Just as long as it's not the Tuesday of a council meeting. Never do I want it to be.
Come in twice.
right, and I've avoided that situation altogether, so.
Well, it's not only the travel back and forth, but if you remember, it seems like always there's this last minute, and here's this report and that
That's right.
report,
That's right.
and something else is added to the agenda or whatever. It seems like Tuesdays, I just have to say I'm not available.
Yeah.
And Wednesdays, I'm certainly not.
And I'm in pretty much the same boat as Councilmember McKim. As long as it's over the lunch hour,
Yes,
it doesn't matter really what day.
Okay.
And
yes.
Noon is fine. I mean, we haven't had a problem, in the past with meeting noons anyway. So it's just, I recommend that we just move it back to Tuesdays at the first Tuesday of each month.
I'm fine with me.
I have no problem.
Ms. Miller shared a comment in the chat that I want to read out. So the Auditor Smith wanted to relay that she has had several departments come to her talking about PAC meetings currently occurring on Mondays and how that doesn't work with them. So I think we've done a good job today hearing our department heads and making sure that we're making changes that meet everyone's scheduling needs. Are there other comments? And do we need to adopt this?
We've approved it through council. So I think I just take this recommendation and then we take it back to council just to update the PAC schedule. And then we can get it up to media. But so I'm kind of iffy on this.
I don't think you have to even have a vote on it, just this will be housekeeping. And this is what's decided and
And
that's
then just
that.
move on to council with the new dates.
And
Okay.
let's not make a big deal of it. Let's.
Okay, all right. Thank you.
All right, item number 4 is approval of summary minutes as presented. We have minutes from February 10th and February 21st. Does anybody see any changes? Seeing none, we'll just approve those. Do we need to take a roll call on that?
We have in the past, but what we've been doing normally with the council is if there's no objection, then the minutes are approved as presented.
I maintain that that's what Robert's Rules of Order calls for. There's no need for a vote on minutes.
I don't want to delay the meeting any longer than it
Okay.
needs to.
I'm not gonna argue with Robert.
All right, number 5 on the agenda is PAC member comments. Anything for the good of the order?
None. Good to be back in person.
Yeah, this is great. Yeah,
Even if we did have some, technical difficulties to start off.
Yeah.
we made it.
Out of here, what time is it?
It's
See?
12:30. So we've
Yeah.
had an efficient meeting. We are adjourned.
Thank
Right.
you.
Thank you.